Let's go back to running back Trey Bradford for a minute. Obviously, a big part of what you do. 50 carries, 343 yards in the three SWAC games. That's a 6.9 yards per carry average. He's accounted for 73% of Grambling's rushing yards during this SWAC stretch. 343 out of the 472 yards. Is that concerning that one guy is carrying so much of the load, or is that by design, or just because he's just that good?
I would say it's performance based because honestly, last year was the same thing as well with Bull Hargrove. It was whoever was having the better production was out there more. We have a plethora of running backs. We don't lack any. We have Cruz, like I said, we have about four different running backs that we like to utilize. But performance wise, if you really look at it, Trey Bradford has been showing out more, and then that's proven for him to play more. Like I said, Mickey Joseph has shown that he's already performance based. All right, you're gonna get amount of play time depending on how well you play. And we've seen guys have a good game one week and then start to see them plugged into the offense more the next week. Especially when it comes to wide receivers and tight ends. For us, we'll see one wide receiver, and when me and Nathan will always be like, "Oh, this is a new one." We'll say that at least like once a week. We're like, "Oh, this is a new receiver that we have out there." Because it's performance based. If you're even in practice, if you're stepping up, you're stepping up. We have receiver Keith Jones Jr. He started to step up and having better games and stuff like that. He's now, as far as everything as it looks now, he's wide receiver too. Because we had Nick Howard there, and performance based, they've been playing a little bit better than Nick Howard. So Nick Howard went down a little bit as far as the depth chart, but it shows that this is all performance based. So I don't think it's nothing to be alarming about. I think that Mickey Joseph is a simple guy, bread and butter. If something's working, why try to fix it? So he's going to utilize as the weeks go on, especially after him being the SWAC player of the week. We're going to see Trey Bradford may even be more than 75% of the rushing offense. So I'm not concerned, but at the same time, if anything changes, we do have the option to utilize other running backs.
Yeah, and that's the same as far as what OJ is saying. I mean, Trey Bradford, 25 plus carries on last week. That's the most he's had, as well as he double back. You have against Texas Southern Homecoming, he had over 100 plus, and then UAPB over 100 plus again. He wasn't even just SWAC Player of the Week, Offensive Player of the Week. He was actually the HBCU National Player of the Week as well. So that lets you know how he's trending up, and he's being able to string together consecutively 100 plus yard games. And I think to the point when it comes to the offense, we talk a lot about the defense. The defense is very much stacked, and they have some veterans on that side. But when it comes to the offense, Mickey Joseph, he redshirted a lot of the players that are playing now. So when you bring those players in and they're getting accustomed to the system, and they're slowly starting to get a little bit of rhythm, like your Keith Jones Jr.'s and your I like to call them, you'll probably hear it on game day, but Tyson Chicken George. He's been somebody that replaced Javon Robinson, who was a veteran for Grambling's receiving corps. So there's a lot of things that are going on for Grambling when it comes to the youngsters, when the receiving corps, and there's a little bit of some youngsters in the offensive line as well, but they're playing like vets.
You talked about some of the losses. I know you mentioned Andrew Jones, the linebacker, going to Ole Miss. That was a huge blow. He was last year's SWAC co-defensive player of the year. They also big play speedster at receiver, Javon Robinson, Georgia State. You mentioned him. And then Bull Hargrove moved on to Old Dominion, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but Mickey Joseph was able to still retain 88% of his roster, which is rare in the transfer portal era. So talk about some of the newcomers, some of the impact newcomers that we didn't see last year that we should expect to hear their name called this weekend.
And let Nate take it. Oh, okay. I'll take it. As far as newcomers, there's a bunch. I mean, of course, you have to look at Tissette because he's our quarterback, and overall, he's coming from Southern. That's a big change to make, anyways. But I feel like the best one we'll probably see like so far it has to be Tissette, because all these other guys are red shirts. We've seen them, but we didn't get the chance to really see them. Everybody that's playing really well this year is the same guys from last year. The same guys from last year. I mean, Markel Linzer was here last year. Blake Davis was here last year. I would say that Raby, Raby, I believe Raby was here last year as well.
He's actually just came from Memphis.
Yeah, he's probably, I think that's our second best newcomer as far as everything. But Tissette, I would say he's our number one because we need him to be our best newcomer. We need him to be the best one, the best standout as far as newcomers that we have. But as far as this team, it's not too many guys that you'll be like, oh, we never heard of. We have heard of these guys. We just being able to see them play a lot more, especially at linebacker position. Marcellus Johnson is a name that we'll throw out. He was here last year, but didn't get a lot of time to play as much. Brenton Barley was a name that Will was going to be talking about, but he's been injured, and we're looking for him to come back at some point in the season. But our linebacker core, our defensive line, Bryce Cage, Isaac Washington, all these guys is guys that's been here before. We know and we've known, we're very familiar. So, like you're saying, bringing back 88% of that roster back, there's not too many new guys that's out there because I feel like Mickey Joseph is a coach that he'll redshirt a guy and he will let you sit, and then when it's time to bring you out, it'll be time to bring you out. So everybody we've seen, we have a familiar basis with, and we're just now getting familiar with their game.
Mm-hmm. What do you think it'll take to get the passing game cranking? Only 452 yards passing in the last 3 SWAC games, and I know that Mickey Joseph has taken over as offensive coordinator with the departure of Dooley. Did he change much? Is it a new offensive scheme, or what has been the main reason for some of the inconsistencies? And I know it's been turnovers, like fumbles and things like that too.
I think it definitely starts off with being able to ball security has been one main thing. Of course, T-set necessarily, I want to say, I mean, you just transferred from Southern. So you're going from one offensive scheme to another in Coach Mickey Joseph's scheme now. So T-set, you can slowly see him starting to get comfortable. And I think the things that have changed is everything is starting to become more balanced. At first, it would be more so we could run maybe 2 or 3 plays, and we can get a good gain of yards on the ground. It could be 3 yards this play, 4 yards this play, and then we'll try to maybe like during the earlier starts, especially against Prairie View and Texas Southern, we'll try on a third down to be 3rd and 3 or something like that, and we'll end up trying to go for 15 plus yards when we only need 3 or 4. I think that is the thing that has changed for sure, of getting for sure yards and playing situational ball. We've been able to control a little bit more of the time of possession. So I think as far as the offensive scheme, we have the pieces. We have the quarterback, we have the line, we have the receivers, we have the running back. It's all about situational football. And based off UAPB, if we can continue to make a long list of doing good things right, that's what it comes down to. We're playing good situational football.
Yeah, I'll have to say it's the same formations, same spread offense, quarterback, shotgun, pistol formation, but we're just getting different feels and looks. Like you said, Nate, we're starting to see a little bit of change up as far as everything. I wouldn't say that it would be, in a sense, sometimes in Grambling situations, especially commentating last year, we could even predict ourselves. Okay, maybe we have an idea of what this play could be, and we'll most of the time be right. Like, all right, we'll run a running player, this and that. I just feel like our offense has taken more risks this year. I feel like we're playing so confined and in a tight space and too afraid to make mistakes. This year is more so like, letting all guns fire off. We're throwing the ball a little bit more. We're taking more pass attempts. We're running the ball as far as more outside zones. Last year we had a high percentage of inside runs, probably the most in the SWAC. So overall, we're utilizing more of the field. We're utilizing more receivers, different players, end arounds, motions. Last year we had motions, but a lot of the motions gave up the play as well. So our motions now this year is all different. We'll see a pass play, RPO out of it, end around. So I think that Mickey Joseph, him being the offensive coordinator and the head coach, has given him a little bit more free reign to be freed a little bit. It's like a freedom in a sense. I don't know how to describe it all the way. It just seems like he's just more free as far as play calling. Is riskier. I like it. I honestly like it. I think that there's a lot of things that sometimes it's high risk, low reward, or it's low risk, high reward. We never know. But Mickey Joseph he's shown to us that he's not afraid to pull that trigger. He's not afraid to go for it on 4th downs, fake punts, or whatever the case may be. So I think he's adding a different component to this offense, not as far as formations, play calling a little bit, but as far as the approach to this offense, the style of this offense, the identity that this offense take. They're more so of careless and carefree. and it's allowing them to play in a style that these players know already. They're not playing into the style of Mickey Joseph's offense. He's playing into them. It seems like it's letting them do them in how they play. Every time a play is drawn up for a player, it's for their specific type. If it's a speedster kind of guy, it's a route for you to run and outrun a guy. If you're a physical kind of guy, it's a route for you to go up top with somebody. If you're a power runner with McClendon, he's our power runner. We have never seen him run outside. It's all down the middle. It's all within. It's all within the tackles. And then our speedster guys, we let them run all around. And Trey Bradford, who's a balanced kind of running back, we utilize him in any situation we like. So I think this offense is more now in Mickey Joseph's control, and you can really see how Mickey Joseph has an identity with his offense and how he is as a person. Because I think how he is as a person is how this offense is. Unpredictable a little bit. He's not afraid to take risks, but it's calculated.
Mm-hmm. And this defense, talk about it, led by preseason first team All-SWAC defensive end Bryce Cage. They lead the league in sacks. What do you love about the defense, and what are some areas that you would like to see them shore up going forward?
I would say the first thing I love about them is turnover machine. Ever since the beginning of the season, they find a way to get it done. Yeah, back against the wall. This defense is like, and you say Bryce Cage, as far as if I was to have something to say about this defense, I would name a player. They're all there. They all play a part. They all play well. All feed off of each other. Because Bryce Cage, you also have Isaac Watson. He's on the other end. He's been having a great season overall. And then as far as our cornerbacks, our DBs, our linebacker core is probably what I think. Of course, I've talked about our running defense hasn't been really that well, but I have to give the most credit to our linebackers because they're the ones that's more trying to pick up the sticks. You losing a guy like Andrew Jones isn't no small feat. That's like, when Tom Brady left the Patriots. That's a big loss. You get somebody have 100 that many tackles last year, and the way he just did it, the way that he was a great player and a great leader as well. That's a huge loss to have. That's always a huge loss as far as the defense. So overall, I think that I have to give more credit to this linebacker core, but this defense is a great bunch from top to bottom. They find ways to do it. There's been times where we were talking about the last game. Raby, one of our corners, who started off had 3 turnovers in the first 3 games, and he got kind of picked at a little bit last game. And our other cornerbacks that we have in Blake Davis that has been a little bit quiet this season, he stepped up, had a great game, and they went more to his side and start going. They pick up off each other and they feed off of each other. It don't matter if one side is having a bad game because the other side is going to take care of it. They're going to pick each other up, and that's what having 11 players mean. Be out there on the defense. You don't rely on one guy to have a good game. It's about all you guys. So this defense is a collective group. I think that they work really well together. And my favorite thing about them, it has to be the turnovers. And now in these last few weeks, it's been this defensive line, how nasty they've been, how much pressure they've been adding on quarterbacks. I feel like every play we've seen in the last few weeks, we've seen quarterbacks running for their life. Bryce Cage behind him, whoever is behind him. That defensive line has been working really well, working really hard as well. So there's a few things that probably pop out, but I love everything about this defense.
Yeah, when it comes to the defense, the defensive line, we like to call them the tax club because if you even find a way to even find a gap, A, B, or C, it doesn't matter. They're extending their arms. They're going to make sure they get you down, no matter if it's a sack, tackle for loss, or just simply just getting the stop. But like OJ was saying, the linebacking core, from losing Andrew Jones and Brendan Barley being hurt, we got people like Jamal Jordan and Marcellus Johnson who stepped up tremendously, and they've been containing the outsides for sure. Of course, the inside runs we've given up, but the outside, they've been doing a great job of making sure they're getting tackles from sideline to sideline. And then for me, honestly, I definitely love the linebacking crew. I love the defensive line, but I'm a no-fly zone type of person. And when it comes to Quentin Talley, Markel Linzer, Blake Davis, and Tyler Raby, there was a reason why people weren't targeting Blake Davis from Prairie View, Texas Southern, and a little bit in UAPB is because, he was already tested last season. He showed you if you even attempted to go his way, you were going to pay the consequences. And last week against UAPB, Blake Davis with an interception. He was the first interception of the game. And then Markel Linzer, he shows up. He already had 2 interceptions on the season, but to double it up with 2 interceptions again, he's been showing he can cover in man, he can cover in zone. If the ball's anywhere in the air, he's the type of guy to run from sideline to another sideline to make sure that he puts it in his possession. So Markel Linzer definitely was the unsung hero last week, and obviously he's defensive player of the week for this week for the SWAC. But Tyrell Raby, Markel Linzer, and Blake Davis, they're my three go-to guys for this secondary in Grambling.
Grambling also is number one in the SWAC in sacks. JSU is number 2 in sacks allowed. So this will be a big test for both units. Something has to give. How pivotal will Grambling's pass rush be, especially in terms of helping? You just mentioned that secondary, helping them out to cover those Jackson State receivers.
I'll say we've seen a lot of that in these last few weeks. You talked about that upward trend as far as the points we've given up in the games that we won, and we end up winning that last game against UAPB. We saw a lot of how that the defensive line, even though a lot of times they weren't able to get to the quarterback because they were able to get it off fast. Quarterbacks in the SWAC are very elusive. All of them are. So they couldn't get them down, but it's that pressure, and that pressure gave our defensive back Markel Linzer's first interception came from the pressure of the defensive line. It was because he were able to just throw it away in the defensive line. We had about 3 players in his face. So they've shown us a lot of how they've been able to step up, because I feel like they've gradually stepped up throughout this whole season. From the beginning of the season, Langston, they had a good game, but from there on out, they stepped up each week. And I think this week may be a statement week for our defensive line. And it should be, especially, being second or giving up sacks. And just the platform. This will give them so much fuel. And I think that it's going to play a critical piece, because a lot of times that we've seen turnovers, even if it wasn't the defensive line that made the turnover happen, they were the one pressuring it. It all works together. And a lot of times the interceptions are thrown, they're not thrown with no pressure in them or in front of them, or, defensive line in their face. So they've been able to do a good job on that. And on top of that, we've been seeing a lot of the defensive line cycle out. Last game, we saw at times they'll switch out the entire defensive line out and bring in a whole new set of guys in, and it will still be the same amount of results. So I think that we are very deep in our defensive line depth. And also, I think they're going to be hungry. And this is a game that, if any game out of all the seasons, they want to make a statement, this will be the one.
All right, keys to victory for Grambling. What are your do's and don'ts for the G-Men?
Oof, the do's and don'ts. I wouldn't say, when it comes to do's, the ball security and being able to take advantage of the time of possession. I mean, last week, when it came to the first 3 quarters, Grambling, they definitely ruled the time of possession. They made sure that they were on the field more. UAPB had a shaky start, but Grambling, those are the key things. You need to be able to climb the ladder one bar after another, and I think that against UAPB will be big. But the don'ts would be, for me, I want to say probably do's and don'ts would be the overall. Take care of the ball, don't give it up, and don't they both come hand in hand. So just ball security for me as a whole.
Okay. I would say dudes for Grambling have I say the running game should be a main focus. We can start around the running game. That's something I'll say do. And then also hold on to the ball. Ball protection is one thing that we have to make sure is critical, because Jackson State is going to be looking for it. We've had a lot of turnovers, fumbles, and situations like that, and even off of snaps. So we have to make sure ball security is one thing, and also force turnovers. That's something that we've been able to do all season long. But I feel like whoever wins this turnover battle, which is usually the case, but whoever wins the turnover battle in this game most likely come out with the win. So I think that they'll definitely have to cause a lot of turnovers. And don't start off flat. We've seen a lot of times this season where Grambling has allowed the first touchdown to be scored on them. And it's because we start off a little bit slow. It's like, it takes us a little while to get into the game. And that's exactly what we don't need here, because we both know last year that's exactly what we did. We started off very hot. We started off with 2 touchdowns, and it was kind of like, okay, that gave them the confidence throughout the whole game. And that's what won Grambling State that game. Now, I know y'all coming in there circling this. This is something y'all already going to come in with. Yeah, you're going to have that heat. You're going to have that fire, knowing that you haven't lost a SWAC game since us. You're going to have that fire. So Grambling has to really allow themselves to know that we have a target on our back, and that we don't want to start off slow, especially on a national stage like this, because Jackson State also thrives in the national stages like this. Alabama State last game was a national stage. That was the biggest game of the year so far. And you performed, actually overperformed. That was a great game overall. So we have to meet that as well. We have to show up on the big stage as well. So I would say don't start off flat. That's all I can say, because after that we'll be fine.
What's the buzz like around campus and town? Is everybody pumped about Vegas? Can we expect a big crowd on the Grambling side?
Oh, absolutely. I'm from California, so a lot of my people are going to be coming out and stuff.
Okay.
There's a lot of people in Vegas. There's a lot of Grambling alumni in Vegas. I didn't even
on the West Coast. Yeah,
that's
what I've heard.
West Coast in California, I know for sure. I go to the picnics. It's about 1,000 people that show up every year to those picnics. It's a huge showing. And when you go to Las Vegas, Grambling is very prominent there as well. So I think it's going to be a great coming of everybody, but also for Jackson State, you guys go everywhere. So it's not like we're not surprised if you guys will be all over like Vegas, because we know you will be. So it's going to be a perfect place. It's sold out. Allegiant Stadium is going to be packed. We're going to see the blue and white. We're going to see black and yellow. You're going to see everything. You're going to see everything.
Yeah.
On the other end, for me, I say the Pulse on campus. I mean, they've attempted to already get student. We usually have student buses travel if they're close by, but they've been trying to work together with flights. And my mom's been talking about going to the game potentially. She's talking about cheering from the cheap seats, but it doesn't matter because it's HBCU regardless. For me personally, though, this is the furthest I'll ever be out west. The furthest I've been is probably, I'll say, West Texas. So to be over there in Las Vegas and Nevada would be a completely different scenery. I'm a Grambling kid myself. I've been watching Grambling since I've been 10 years old. So this is history in the making if we really think about it.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And shout out to the committee for the Classic, the Las Vegas Classic. They've done a really good job of marketing and advertising it, going back, not just recently, but when it was first announced, they've been advertising it on social media. So I think the local community just out west in Vegas, around the areas, even people who didn't necessarily attend an HBCU, I think they'll be interested in attending this game just to see what it's about, because there's a lot of hype around it. I've seen it being advertised on the stadium. So as you're driving by in Las Vegas, you see the billboards, the signs. So that's pretty cool.
When you watch Vegas, I watched the Raiders game, and they had it on one of their banners as well, promoting the game. So it's very wide. It's national.
Yeah, that's dope. That's dope. All right, so it'll be a great showing Saturday, 5:00 Central, Allegiant Stadium, home of the Raiders. Chris Berman voice. Also, HBCU go for those who can't make it. You guys have safe travels, and I'll see you there.
Yes, sir. Will do. See you there, Corey.
All right, no doubt.
See you there.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for having us on.
Always, man. Our pleasure.
If you enjoy our content and appreciate what we do, kindly consider donating to the channel.